Welcome, Crypt Fiends, to the Cryptique Podcast. My name's Kenny, and I'm here with my co-host, Godden. And together, we're here to watch and review every horrific, often hilarious episode of the legendary HBO anthology series, Tales from the Crypt. That's my Dave Mustaine intro right there, Godden.
I don't know how I feel about that, but it was very enjoyable.
my Dave Mustaine intro. Here I am talking to myself.
Oh my god, it's actually pretty good. I like it. It's very, very. I don't know. It's like on the fence. It's hard.
Welcome everybody. Here we are to talk about some Tales from the Crypt. Let me see here. Okay, you know what? Before we go any farther, I have to mention this again right now. This episode, as you're watching it right now, is going to release on the 22nd, Friday the 22nd. That means in just 3 short days, or is it 2 short days? In just 3 short days, you are going to be treated to our anniversary. May 25th was the start of this journey of ours on this Tales from the Crypt extravaganza. So this coming Monday, sit tight. We've got a couple of videos coming out for you to celebrate our milestone. Godden and I worked, I don't know if we worked really hard on these videos, but we definitely, we had a lot of fun making them, right?
I had a lot of fun, yeah. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. And we're looking forward to you checking them out and just letting us know what you think and sharing it, your thoughts in the comments, sharing the video, liking and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, do what you can to get our special, I don't even know what to call them. I know exactly what to call them, but I don't want to call them by their real name because I don't want to spoil the surprise. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to you guys checking it out. So, but yeah, we do have something very special planned for you all this coming Monday. So stay tuned. We'll get there shortly. But before we do, we have another episode to get through, Godden. Season 4, episode 13, lucky number 13, Werewolf Concerto. This premiered September 9th, 1992, and it comes to us from the Vault of Horror, which we like the Vault of Horror. I like the Vault of Horror anyway. And this episode stars James Bond himself, Timothy Dalton. How about that?
How about that?
He is a little bit, only slightly before my time. There was kind of a big gap in between the Timothy Dalton James Bond and the Pierce Brosnan James Bond. So I was young when the first Pierce Brosnan James Bond came out. So that was my first experience with James Bond. So Pierce Brosnan, GoldenEye, that's my bread and butter. It's one of my favorite James Bond movies is that one. I like what what's his name? I just said it. Pierce Brosnan. I like what Pierce Brosnan did with the role. I like it a lot. And then when Daniel Craig was first announced, I was like, I don't know about this guy, but I like Daniel Craig too. So, yeah. What was your first James Bond?
Yeah, I think it had to be Daniel Craig, the first movie I've ever seen, because I do know Pierce Brosnan's James Bond movies, but I don't think I've ever sat down and of all the James Bond, it was just Daniel Craig's. But I didn't grow up with any. Surprisingly, I grew up with Austin Powers, so that's my James Bond.
Huh. Well, I wonder. I'd like to sit with you one day and watch GoldenEye to see what you think about it. It is one of my favorites. I like GoldenEye a lot.
We should then.
It also has Reginald Vell Johnson, which is Carl Winslow from Family Matters. So it's got Officer Winslow in the episode, which is kind of fun to see him. I like seeing him in this episode. So we are going to dive into the episode. Before we do, though, I got to let everybody here know we are not experts. Godden and I are damn near a year into just what we call a hobby. We get on here once a week. We talk about a show that we both really like and just share our opinions about it. That's all these are, is opinions. We have no authority whatsoever in this show. If you agree with something we say, if you disagree with something we say, if you think something else in addition to what we say, leave it all in the comments below. We'd love to read it and potentially share it right here on the podcast. So we definitely, it means a lot to us to build a community around this as well. So yeah, use that comment section down below, will you? And spoiler warning, we are going to be going into great detail on the story elements here, and as well as the twists. So make sure you watch this episode on your own. Hey, maybe you can watch it on Shudder if you're watching late enough, right? For you watchers in the future, this episode's already on Shudder.
Mm-hmm.
By the way,
exciting.
This episode is going to premiere on the 22nd. Our episode is going to premiere on the 22nd, which means we'll be on 1, 2, 3. Season 4 will be on. Season 4 today. Season 4 today will be on Shudder. So you can go watch, literally right now, you can pause this video, go on Shudder, watch the Werewolf Concerto, and then tune back in to watch our review on it. So yeah, literally you can today. How about that? That's awesome. Exciting.
It really is.
Okay. So let's get into it by first briefing ourselves on what the back of the DVD box set says. So I'm going to go over there to collect my my ancient flesh. My ancient flesh-bound scrolls here, inked in blood. Werewolf Concerto. Here we go. You'll howl. A werewolf stalks the grounds of a resort hotel, but he's not the only creature on the prowl. And that does kind of hint at the twist, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like they should have said, like, along the lines like, oh, he's not the only monster. Then it could be like, oh, well, maybe there's like a psychopath or a killer, instead of you thinking, oh, there's another creature involved other than a werewolf. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So here's something that I came up with. I always thought the back of the DVD box set was a little too short. I like a little something extra. I don't want to just wet my whistle. I want a full drink. Okay, give me a full drink. Make it a double. All right. So here's what I came up with. Vacationers find themselves stranded in a remote hotel after a mudslide blocks the only way in or out. With no way to escape and no help on the way, their only option is to wait it out. Things get complicated, though, when they learn that one of them is a werewolf with an appetite for flesh. Human flesh. You see what I did there?
I did.
Instead of just saying an appetite for human flesh, I said an appetite for flesh. Human flesh. As in Bond. James Bond. I have to spell it out, okay? I want to make sure that landed.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Well, before we get too far into it, what are your overall thoughts, Godden?
I enjoy this episode a lot. I wasn't expecting this many A-listers, I want to say. Like, there's a lot of familiar faces in modern films, too. If you're not, I'm not sure how many movies they had back when this episode aired. Carl Winslow had his show. There's Dennis Ferrer. I can't really think of one. I think of I'm blanking, but he's a very familiar face. He always plays a really goofy dad in some sort. And then like you mentioned, Mr. James Bond himself, Timothy Dalton. And I feel like there might have been one more, but
Wolfgang Puck was in this. That's right.
Oh, Wolfgang Puck. Yep, Wolfgang Puck plays as Wolfgang Puck. Yeah, himself. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of. It's got big cast. There's some money into this before they go on set. So
I did like the episode. I liked it. The more I watch it, the more I like it. When I first watched it to get ready for the review, I was like, this is kind of a dud. I was thinking, maybe like a 2 to be nice to it, But the more I watched it, it did grow on me. Watching it through the first time, I to be honest with you, I know it seems weird because they're not like super brainiac episodes. So to get lost in them is embarrassing to say, but I got lost in this episode, especially the first time through. So after watching it a couple times more, I kind of got my bearings on what was going on, but there was a lot going on in a short amount of time. And ultimately, I think that is an issue with the episode, but it just became less of an issue after multiple watch throughs. So, all right. So let's get ourselves into the Crypt Keeper intro. We've got a brain sitting on a table or whatever. He says, "This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs." And he throws it on the frying pan. This is like a traditional ad that would play, a public service announcement that would play back in the 90s. Then he goes to the last one and he says, and this is your brain after watching Tales from the Crypt. And he bashes it with a hammer. Oh, so cool. I love this, I don't know what they used. Jello? It looked good though. It was really good.
Yeah.
He goes, evening, creeps. We interrupt your regularly scheduled Terror Vision program to bring you a bit of culture. Tonight, instead of rotting your grave matter, I'm going to improve it with a tasteful tale about someone who just can't fight the feeling. Oh, he says, fright the feeling, excuse me. I call it Werewolf Concerto. That brings us to the opening panel, which we never see a scene like this, unfortunately. It's a werewolf stalking a woman at nighttime. He's like behind the bushes watching her as she screams and runs. I think that might have been a nice way to kind of maybe end the episode or something, but he does prowl after one, maybe two people in the episode, but they're not women though. What do you think about the opening panel?
Yeah. I like the colors. I kind of wish that the opening panel was the same as the intro, like the same victim.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be really funny because then the opening panel kind of starts the episode off because that's kind of how the episode was going anyway. So he's already in werewolf mode, so it was fun to be in that. But yeah, there really was actually no. I think there was one victim that was a woman, but he didn't chase her through like the night or anything. It was just in her room. So.
Well, you know what? That makes me think. I didn't think about this until right now, and I want to bring it up before we get there because I don't want to forget it again. But yeah, you're right. In the beginning of the episode, he's in werewolf mode, right? Then at the end of the episode, he's in werewolf mode. Are we supposed to assume 28 days passed since the nights, or is?
Yeah, because it has to be full moons, right?
Yeah.
Or I mean, maybe it's the same night still. Can it be the same night?
I don't know.
Oh no, the same. Sorry, the same weekend because I mean the full moon shouldn't like just go away after the second day, right?
Maybe as long as it's like a 90% full moon, he's fine. So maybe like the night before, the night of, and the night after are all like full enough for him to become okay. I'm with it. I'm on board with that. Okay. So yeah, like we just said, the opening scene is we are in like werewolf vision. He's chasing after some old man. The old man falls. The werewolf actually rips his throat out. We get a great effect of blood just spewing out of his neck while he's like, dying there. He actually rips his head off and holds the head up and howls at the full moon. What a great intro. I mean, I have no notes so far. This is so good.
Yeah, I loved it. I felt like I was with the werewolf. I was cheering him on. Like, yeah, so we did conquer that. Like, I was in victory with him when he did the because when he pointed the head in the air and then he howled. Yeah, I was all for it.
Yeah,
like,
that was so good. It was awesome. Such a great intro. And then the scene immediately flips to back at the hotel, and you got the woman crying. This is the woman's or the man's wife. And you have the owner of the hotel or the manager of the hotel trying to console her, telling her, "It's fine, it's okay. The coroner tells me that your husband's death was instant. Like that's supposed to make her feel better." So I did like that. So once we get here inside, this is where we really do meet like almost the full cast of characters. There's a lot of people in this episode. Basically, if you cut through all the chuffa, if you cut through all the small talk and just the kind of little quips of all the characters, basically what's going on here is 3 people have been murdered so far at this hotel. There's a mudslide that's blocking the road. Nobody can get in. Nobody can get out. And there is a werewolf, right? They're worried about a werewolf. And this is where things kind of get, I'm bittersweet about this part. When they say, oh, it's a werewolf, everybody's on board. Everybody's like, oh, okay, there's a werewolf out there. On one hand, I'm like, oh, I like this because it speeds the plot along. It's only like a 25 minute episode. So if we don't have to weigh it down with all of this, wait a minute, no, that's not true. Like if you have to waste time trying to convince people that there's a werewolf, you waste time in an already short episode. So on one hand, I like that they like fast forward this. Everybody's on board. Okay, there's a werewolf. We got to be careful. But on the other hand, when I'm watching this, I especially the first time through, I felt like I was missing something. I was like, why is everybody on board so quick? Like, did I miss something? Is there like, is everybody here some sort of like a fairy tale beast? that might have been a way to kind of angle it, right? Maybe right up front you set up, oh, we have vampires, we have werewolves, we have fairies, we have if this was like some sort of a supernatural place and everybody was kind of in on it, that would have helped to kind of grease the wheels on having me be on board with this. But watching it through the first time and just having everybody be on board, it definitely served the narrative and sped things along plot wise. I might just be stupid, but it made me kind of confused watching it. Like, I think I missed something in the first like 35 seconds of this episode. What do you think of this so far?
I like the instant contrast between the first scene and the second scene, just how it's immediately daytime, which I kind of saw that happening. I like that everyone was kind of gathered around and kind of talking about, what to do with there's, might be a werewolf or a killer, but, what's it called? Carl just yells that it's a werewolf in his thick German accent. And I don't know why. When I saw this episode, I couldn't stop thinking about, like, why is there always Germans in like some sort of like hunting gathering like tropes? Like there's always these expert Germans. They're like from the mountains or whatever it is. They have like some sort of backstory, like why they're there, or their family might have been like hunters in some way. But I kind of like what you mean though. Maybe if they were all introducing all these mythical creatures, it'd be kind of fun to see. I was getting like Hotel Transylvania vibes when you mentioned that, but then again, if it is a common thing to have mythical creatures, then it would just be kind of normal. It's like, oh, just another random investigation, and no one's kind of in fear that there's a mythical creature like a werewolf. So I'm not too sure actually thinking about it now, but I did kind of like your idea. I would like to see that kind of version as well. But so far, I like the characters. I think you and I have different opinions about like too many characters or too many pieces in the game, because you're right, sometimes when there's too many characters it can just be off-putting because it's just red herrings or they don't utilize them. But for me, I just like the low personalities. Like, I don't care if they get used or not. I'm like, there's a German, there's a there's your typical like badass, there's like like your sultry woman. Like, it's just like fun low characters, but I could see why you hate them. Or dislike them.
Yeah. You also mentioned Germans, and it made me think of Germans, in particular Nazi Germans, in such close proximity to werewolves, and it made me think of Creepshow, the series, not the movie, but the series. I just got Shudder, so I can watch Tales from the Crypt, but I'm also watching. Oh yeah. I'm also watching the Creepshow, and I think episode like 3 or 4 or something like that. It's about werewolves killing Nazi Germans. So it was funny to like watch those two in such close proximity to one another, because it's just those two elements sticking together, werewolves and Nazis. It just that was interesting. Okay. Because there is a Nazi in this episode, right? At some point in this episode, we learn that one of the characters is a Nazi. Yeah. So anyway, one other thing we learn while we're kind of meeting all these characters is that one of the residents here in the hotel is a werewolf hunter. And the only thing is they ask that they remain anonymous. So there's an anonymous werewolf hunter. And that's where we kind of more or less get introduced to Loki, or Loki, or I think it's Loki, I think it's pronounced.
Loki, yeah.
And so Loki, this is James Bond. This is Timothy Dalton, and we meet him, and he's sitting on a couch, on like a chair by himself. He's having a drink, and just very suave looking. He finishes his drink, and he starts chewing on the ice. And this is a very strange reoccurring theme in this episode that I just didn't really pick up on the first time through. It kind of created some confusing dialogue for me, because I didn't really notice the fact that he was chewing ice. But while he's chewing it, a woman approaches him and says, you know what they say about a man who does that to his ice? And he says, yeah, you can always count on him to lick the competition. And she says, something like that. And he goes, what do you think about werewolves? And she says, that hair on the back of the neck is a bit of a turnoff for me. Or did she say turn on?
It's our narrative. What do you want it to be?
Yeah, right.
I actually don't remember. I don't remember.
Yeah, I wonder if I'm confused now. I think she did say turn off, but in my mind, I'm thinking turn on. I think she might have been turned on by it. Anyway, so they flirt back and forth, and she leaves to go back up to her room, and he follows. And he says, "I recognize you from one of your piano concertos." I forget exactly what it was. It was something in G minor or something like that. But they go back and forth and kind of he's trying to basically get up to her room, and she's kind of playing hard to get, but she kind of eases up really easily and kind of basically invites him back to her room at midnight. And she even says, because he wants to take a bath with her. He wants to take a bath with her, and she asks, whose back is going to be to the faucet? And he says, mine, of course. So she says, come back to my room around midnight. She looks down at his down below, and she says, don't forget your submarine. Such cringy dialogue.
Yeah.
Clearly, if he was able with the cable, they would have had some better dialogue in this scene.
I'm able with the cable. Yeah.
What do you think about this whole staircase sultry seduction scene?
I think the jazz is what tied up everything. I think it was perfect. It's your stereotypical smooth jazz just playing, you know. But yeah, I didn't quite get the dialogue as well, the back and forth. Like when she said like, "Oh, don't forget to bring your submarine." I mean, I knew what she meant, but I was like, "Sure, like I guess we can say it like that."
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's like they were just I don't know what the writers were doing, and it's fine. Like they're just having fun, clearly. But I feel like they could have just made this more acceptable. Like they could use better phrases. I felt like just to really show if they were fully flirting with each other or they were. I don't know. Like it's like their first time flirting. You know what I mean? Like it's just
it's like their
kind of
first
weird
time
and
flirting.
kind of awkward.
Wait, hold on. Let me consult
like,
the rule book. What do I say in this situation? Yeah, if she had said something, she had said something that alluded to the fact that he was a werewolf, like don't be such a bad boy or something like that, or down boy, or you're such a wild animal or something like that. You know what I mean? Like if and if he had said something that alluded to her being a vampire, like something about sucking on some, I don't know, like they could have done many different things with this, but the way they did go was a little weird. So after this whole ordeal, Lokai goes back to the bar, and he tells the bartender's name is Peter, by the way. He says, "Do me a favor, kid. If anyone calls or comes in, even if it's a wrong number, I want to know about it." And he gives him some money. So basically, we get the impression that Lokai is the hunter, right? He's the one. He's going to track down this werewolf and try to figure out, who the killer is, so he can take him out. That's kind of what they're leading you towards. And on his way out, he stops, and without looking, he notices Antoine, the manager. So he looks over at Antoine, and that's where we get. I love this. Like the harpsichord starts playing, and you get this really very gothic music playing, and the look he gives them is so. It's so. I love this moment. It's such, like you had said, that you don't mind having so many characters because everyone offers their own flair. I totally get what you mean because of this scene right here. That flair that Mr. Antoine gives to every scene he's in, I absolutely love. So I get what you're saying. But at the same time, red herring, like I wish that we would have had some resolution with him and in confirming that he either was or was not. What if there were two werewolves? There's no reason to think there wasn't. So he did strike me as somebody who maybe could have been the werewolf. So anyway, what did you think about Peter, the bartender, and then now Mr. Antoine?
I love Mr. Antoine since the first scene that he was introduced, because just like I said, I forget which movie. Snatch. That's the movie I seen him. Dennis Ferrier is from Snatch, and he plays he always plays fun characters. So seeing him here, I thought he was gonna be more of a important character with more dialogue, but I didn't mind with the spotlight he had. So I was okay with like the 3 scenes we get him in, and yeah, that moment where he has that little flitter, like you mentioned, I didn't know what to make of it initially when he did do that, because I'm like, is he like like, are they alluding to like maybe some secret affair they had or something like that? Because like that's kind of vibe I got. But I'm kind of glad that was still put there, even though it was unanswered for me.
It's another affair.
It's just
It's
something
another
fun.
homosexual affair. We just had one in the last episode.
We're not doing that, Kenny. That's not. I mean, maybe in the next future episodes, maybe there will be a trope that happens like that, and you'll be so excited.
We need a homosexual affair in one of these episodes. This Tales from the Crypt is so hetero, man.
But yeah, I mean, at that moment with Antoine and Mr. Lokai, yeah, I thought they had something going, or maybe they're in cahoots or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But,
like they're in cahoots.
yeah.
Definitely, yeah, definitely another route. So the next scene, it's the morning. I don't know if it's the next morning or maybe it's just later that. I don't know. The timing's kind of weird in this episode because you never really get like a full. I don't know. It's just a lot of episodes do that actually, where you're not quite sure how much time has passed. So he's down in the dining area, and this is where he's chatting with Officer Winslow and his wife, and they're chatting back and forth, and that's where we get Wolfgang Puck comes on in. He comes in and he offers like this extraordinary menu of items, and basically gives like a whole tour of the menu of just all the wonderful items that you can get from this world-class chef. And Lokai looks at him. He goes, I'll have a cheeseburger and a large iced tea with plenty of ice. So there's again that ice narrative, which I don't know if I understand. I definitely get the cheeseburger. Right? He wants meat, but it's the ice though. Why does he want to constantly chew ice? Dogs don't chew ice. Werewolves don't chew. I get the chewing aspect. You want to chew on something because he's like gnawing it, like at a bone almost. But I would almost think you can make more of a case if he was always chewing on a toothpick. You know what I mean? Like just gnawing on something. Like the fact that he's gnawing on ice, the fact that he's chewing ice, it's just so weird to me. I don't see how it fits with being a werewolf. Do you?
I assume it was just something to do with him just cooling down because it's just too hot. Like I just know that's another thing people do, just they chew ice.
Yeah.
So that's what I was taking it as in. I mean, I didn't really make too much of an effort out of it or an issue out of it. So yeah, maybe it's bothering you more than it bothers me, and maybe I'm not as invested in it. Maybe I should be. Maybe you're right. Maybe there's something missing that I'm not like quite grabbing.
It's only bothering me because they make such a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
Like not only was he chewing ice when we first met him, the woman made a big to-do about pointing out that he was chewing ice. Then when he orders iced tea, he has to specify with extra ice. And then he doesn't just specify extra ice. He turns to the Winslows and says, I'm awfully hot. Like he comments on it. Like they're really laying it on thick for something that I think is just so like forgettable. So anyway. So they're all talking, and they start talking about I forget what his name was, the guy who died last night, right? And the Winslows say, "Oh, we were just becoming friends with him," and they show him a picture, and the picture is all of them grouped together outside with a full moon above them. So they're all excluded from possibly being a werewolf because they're out during the full moon. So I thought that was a nice little touch to show you how they're not part of it. And I was expecting that. I was expecting him to go through all the characters pretty quickly and just kind of get a real quick nope. But that's really all we get, because after that scene, we pretty much that wraps up the investigation. Oh, but there was one thing in this scene. While they're talking, we notice, or Lokai notices, without looking, by the way, Carl is listening. Carl is that like I kept thinking of him as like Igor, just because he kind of had like he almost had like a little hunch to him. But also Igor, also Carl, you kind of get the sense maybe he's the werewolf hunter at the same time, because he's kind of awkward and kind of just strange. Yeah. Did you think anything else about this scene besides the chewing ice?
Yeah, actually, besides the chewing ice, it bothered me that Mr. Lokai took the drink, Carl Winslow's wife's water. I don't think we got their name. Did we get their name, the couple's name?
I'm sure they were named in there somewhere, but I just kept calling them the Winslows.
Yeah. Yeah, because when he was invited to sit down and he ordered his meal, he at one point or another just took her drink and started drinking water because he just, I guess, just needs hydration. She started drinking the ice, so that kind of bothered me a little bit because I'm like, oh, so maybe it's just his charisma, you know. He's just used to just doing stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. From this whole point of meeting Mr. Lokai, I just had like this, this moment like, oh, he has to be the werewolf, you know, just the way he's acting, and you know, even he's always showing his chest, and you know, with his choices of clothes and style, like he has to be the werewolf. He just fits like the profile of, I don't know, whatever werewolf profile would fit. But I just had that feeling. But it was fun for me to like, oh, maybe it is Carl. Maybe, you know, it's like what you said. It's like he's just awkward. He's just like, you know, just always in his own corner and always talking about werewolves. So maybe it is him. But it is fun to always just see who it could be. You know, even who the hunter was, because they wanted to remain anonymous. So I was also kind of trying to tie that up as well, because I actually wanted to know who the hunter was more than who the werewolf was, because I was very set on Mr. Lokai.
Yeah.
But for a moment, I did say Wolfgang, because that'd be funny if Wolfgang Puck was the wolf. Yeah. But
I must admit, I was more or less going along for the ride, and I didn't think that Lokai was. I really just bought that Lokai was the hunter, and we were following him trying to figure out who the werewolf was. So I really was like, okay, maybe it's Peter, maybe it's that bartender guy, maybe it's the manager, maybe, right? I was really kind of going, so I was looking forward again to him going to all these characters to kind of cross them off the list. That brings us up to that woman's room. Her name, by the way, is Janice. And this is where you find that out. He walks in, you know, looking for Janice. Hey, Janice, where you at, Janice? And she's nowhere to be seen. And there is one interesting shot of oh, by the way, yeah, she's a concert pianist, which is, by the way, where the Werewolf Concerto comes from, because right, she's a musician. She plays these piano concertos, and I don't think the angle was not clear. It wasn't clear enough as to like Werewolf Concerto named after. I just felt like there needed to be more piano concertoing. You know, maybe if we followed from her perspective a little bit more, it would have been more pronounced. But just the way it went, I just feel like it was almost like a misnamed episode too. Anyway, so he's snooping around her room. He goes to her piano. He's just about to push on the keys, and he hears something outside. So he goes and he sees that Carl guy, that Igor looking guy, running off into the woods, and he says, "Oh yeah, bingo!" So he goes out to go catch him. So he's running through the woods to catch this Carl guy, but Mr. Hertz, the old German, catches him and holds him up at gunpoint. And I love this altercation, by the way. They go back and forth a bit, but ultimately what happens is, in the most James Bond way, he kicks the gun out of his hand. It flies into the air. He catches it midair and shoots the German in the head. And when he shot the German, by the way, you actually see the bullet wound like instantaneously happen on his forehead. Great job. Great effect. I loved it. Then he falls over dead, and that effect is just like a red, muddy looking mark on his forehead. I really wish there was like, you know, blood pouring out of it or something like that. I wish they would have had a little more effect on that. So anyway, he shoots him in the head. He grabs his he has like a bag of money for some reason. So he grabs that and he leaves him there in the forest. And you're supposed to think, okay, maybe he got the werewolf. What'd you think?
I wasn't really expecting that whole altercation when that happened. When he was confronting Mr. Hurst looking for Carl, because I don't know, when they shot James Bond, maybe he just was just having that moment, like, oh, I like those action scenes. He had to show off his inner Chuck Norris, you know, with the high kick and then grab. I was just crazy. I just was not expecting something like that. It was funny, you know, but I just didn't think it was like fitting, you know. But I enjoyed it. I agree. I did like the little effects of when Mr. Hurst got shot, and you see like a little bullet wound, and it was cool because all these deaths so far have been like kind of quick cuts with a quick gore. You know, it wasn't like they really prolonged it like what you wanted, and probably what I would have wanted too. But I didn't quite get this moment realistically. Like I know they try to explain it towards the end, but like that bag of money, like was it Mr. Hertz? Was it Carl's money? Like because I assume it's Carl's bag because that bag looked like it belonged to Carl initially, like that same leather
Oh,
book bag.
did he take it
That's what I
from?
was trying
Yeah,
to.
yeah. You're right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do we ever see Carl after this moment?
No, I think we're supposed to assume that Mr. Hertz took care of him or something because
Oh,
that's
see,
the end
that I
of
was lost on
Carl.
me. I didn't realize that part.
Yeah.
But yeah, this next scene coming up, I'm also lost in this. So I watched this episode like 3 or 4 times already, and this part, whenever this part comes up, I always just let it wash over me and just think, oh, whatever, just I won't pay attention because I don't get it. But he gets back to the hotel with all this money and having just killed Mr. Hertz. Peter calls him over and says, "Hey, Mr. Lokai, it turns out Mr. Hertz was a Nazi war criminal," and they go back and forth a little bit about, I don't know what that means. I don't know. And he says, basically, how can I have been so stupid? It wasn't Mr. Hertz. So at this point in the episode, you're supposed to be thinking, oh, he thought Hertz was the werewolf, but he's not. He was actually a Nazi war criminal. So what? Such a weird spot in the episode. Like, can you make any more sense of it than that?
Um, Not really from like the face value information that we're given, right? It just seems like Carl did have the drop on Mr. Hertz, and he was about to get paid for outing a former Nazi. And of course, the two Germans, one of them's a Nazi, funny enough. And yeah, I guess that was it. Carl was just gonna cash in his check and get his own bounty, right? But I guess he was hunting something else. He wasn't hunting a werewolf. He was hunting a Nazi at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was just a little side story. There really wasn't much to it. And the more we talk about this, the more we think about this, I totally understand. Like sometimes too many characters can be a bad thing because then they are just just leaving them out to
Mm-hmm.
raw. Like they're not really utilizing anything about them than just their personalities, which I thought was okay. But yeah, the more we talk about this, the more I'm like, oh, okay, it's putting me off.
Yeah. I was definitely confused because I didn't know where it was going. I didn't. So that brings us back up to Janice's room. At this point, he barges into Janice's room looking for her one more time. So at this point, you're supposed to think he's convinced that Janice is the werewolf. So he's looking around her room, and that's where you get the moonlight shining in through her window, and you get the transformation. So Lokai transforms into a werewolf, and you realize, oh, he was the werewolf. He's chasing after everybody who he thinks is the werewolf hunter. So he thought Hertz was the werewolf hunter. And then he thought Janice was the werewolf hunter. So he's coming to look for her. So he transforms into the werewolf in a very traditional, fantastic transformation scene for a 28 or however many minutes episode this was. The time and attention to detail they put into this one transformation scene, I thought was fantastic. This is probably one of the best practical effects episode. We've had that throat being ripped out. We had the shot in the head. We get this fantastic transformation scene. I thought was great. So he's a werewolf. He's still looking for Janice. And that's when poor Maid walks into the room to clean up. He takes her out. How did he take her out, by the way? Were there any practical effects in this, or did he just kind of wall up on her until she died? I kind of forget how he takes her out.
Yeah, pretty much. There wasn't anything noticeable. I think at one point he might have just cut her just with his claws, but mainly he is it beat or bludgeon? Well, blunt force trauma for sure. She just smashed her into the piano. That's pretty much how he killed her.
Yeah, and that was kind of the main reason, I think, was to have some reason for the piano to be used, because he bashed her head into the piano. There's no sound. So after he kills her, he opens up the piano, and that's where you see it's empty. There's no strings in there, and it's there's like a bedding of like dirt, and that's where you get this is vampire vibes, right? And so that's where you realize that Janice was the vampire hunter. And she was a vampire hunter. She was a vampire hunter hunting werewolves. So she plunges that silver candelabra or whatever you call it through his chest, takes him out, and that's the twist. So she was the werewolf hunter. And Yeah, I guess. Well, what'd you think?
I completely love the transformation scene, like you mentioned. Part of me wishes they got a little lazy and just did the secret route and then do like a overlay over and then just make him that. But I actually wasn't expecting a vampire towards the end when he lifted up the piano and it's a casket. I was like, oh, great. There's always a vampire and a werewolf, I swear. Like with the secret vampire and a werewolf, and like every modern movie and even old movies, like, there's always vampires and werewolves. I never really understand that, like what do these two always have a feud, like
Yeah, I noticed
is
that
it just
too.
written down somewhere? But yeah, maybe from now on, every time there's a vampire or werewolf, I'm just gonna assume that one has to exist as well somehow. They have to be in the same universe. But uh, I thought there was gonna be more after he killed the maid. I didn't expect him to die so abruptly, but maybe it is just with the runtime. They just have to just do the twist right then and there. So it was kind of cool to see her as the vampire with her cool hunting outfit, like
Hmm.
cool. She's a pretty cool vampire. I like her vampire more than the other vampires we've had in the previous episodes and seasons of Tales from the Crypt.
Hmm.
Uh, Not like that was a better portrayal. I just her style just stood out. It's more gothic in that way. Because which one was it where he was the reluctant vampire? He had a very stereotypical dress as a vampire. So it's fun to see like a more modern take on what they look like if they were hunting. So
Hmm.
it was cool.
Yeah, well, that brings us to the Crypt Keeper outro. He says, "Poor Lokai. I thought he thought he was starring in La Boheme. Turns out he was second lead in Romeo and Juliet. I hope you're not cultured out, kiddies, because the next part of our program is a little par to die I've been working on. I hope you like your goreography. Whenever you're ready, Isadora." And he's holding a skeleton. He throws it up. It plops behind him. He says, I guess it's back to the corpse du ballet for her. I don't know a lot of these puns. I'm not that well cultured in, highbrow art like that. So, yeah, I didn't get that as much. Well, yeah, when it comes to vampires and werewolves being together, there's the underworld, there's Twilight. It's not their first time being,
No, yeah.
mingled like this. And not even the first time in Tales from the Crypt, we had this secret, like you had mentioned earlier. That was the young boy who we learned at the end was a werewolf. Turns out he was adopted by vampires. So, yeah, it's definitely not the first time or the last time that we're going to have these two meshings of werewolves and vampires. It's also just the idea of everybody, all the vacationers being stranded or isolated with a monster or some sort of a killer or a maniac on the loose has definitely been done many times before. I'm thinking The Thing, right? Whereas a literal monster, The Shining, like there's just, it's just so, it's a very cliche episode and like it checks a lot of boxes, basically. Then there's the whole angle of like, this is like James Bond. And this isn't like years after Timothy Dalton had been James Bond. Like he was James Bond during this era. Like this was his James Bond era. So if you were to watch this back in the day, everybody would have been like, that's James Bond,
Yeah.
So it made me think of like, what are some other movies that starred a James Bond actor where they lean into that a little bit? Because I felt like they did that here. He was, Lokai was kind of a suave guy. He was kind of doing some investigation. He kind of got caught up in some action sequence. He even had some dialogue that very much mirrored a James Bond dialogue, like when he said, I never lose. And he's even drinking his drink at the bar. Like they very much leaned into the James Bond-esque of it. And it made me think of The Rock. Have you seen The Rock?
Is that one with Nicolas Cage or no?
Yeah, Nicolas Cage and Sean
Yeah.
Connery.
Okay.
So
Sean Connery.
yeah, there's a running gag that it's actually a sequel to his Sean Connery's era of James Bond. Like he's actually James Bond from the Sean Connery era, but he had to
Oh,
change
that's
his name and all. There's a whole conspiracy that it's actually the same thing.
Okay.
It's not. It's fun to think about though, right? Clearly, the directors and the writers all knew who James Bond was, and they knew who Sean Connery was. So they just kind of leaned into it to kind of have some fun with the idea that, hey, wouldn't it be neat if this was James Bond, kind of a vibe. I also I feel like they almost do that with Knives Out and Daniel Craig. He has a completely ridiculous accent, but just the idea that he's kind of there to kind of sleuth around and figure stuff out is very James Bond-esque, I feel like. Anyway, I didn't want to go too far down that rabbit hole. It's just some stuff I thought about. So let's get ourselves to rating. Like I said, when I first watched this episode, I didn't like it. It grated on me. It was almost annoying with how many characters there were that we didn't have resolution to. By the time he finally started turning into a werewolf, I felt like this is way too soon. Like they're already telling us who the werewolf is, and we haven't even crossed everybody else off of our list. Like I didn't really have much time to think about it. So that bothered me. Just the whole Nazi thing was kind of weird. So I did not like this episode the first time through. I really didn't like it. After watching it a few more times, I warmed up to it. I do like it. I like it a lot more than I did before, although it's still not great. I don't think this is a great episode. But it's pretty good though. I did have some fun with it. I'm going to give it a 3.7, or in this context, I'm going to give it 3.007. 3.007 License to Kill Werewolves.
License to Kill. Is that a nod to James Bond?
Yeah, License to Kill is James Bond.
Okay. So
yeah, that was a Timothy Dalton one, License to Kill.
Look at that.
How about
Perfect.
that?
How about that?
Hmm.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's not like a good or an amazing episode. It definitely is fun to watch. Might get bored after the second watch through, but I give it 3.5 howls. 3.5 werewolf howls.
3.5 howls at the moon. I'm gonna write it
howls
down
at the
that
moon.
way.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. With that out of the way, let us get ourselves into horror-spondence. So, like I said, I always invite everybody who watches to share their thoughts down in the comments. These are some of the comments by those brave souls who decided to type something and then push enter down below. We have a first-time commenter. I always love first-time comment. Very exciting when I get a first-time commenter. He says, great content. Thank you very much. He says, not sure if you've seen Tales from the Dark Side, but definitely my favorite Next to Tales series. Yes, Tales from the Dark Side is a great movie and a great show. And I actually have the box set of the Tales from the Dark Side. I'm looking forward to actually diving deeper into those at some point. But as of right now, I haven't seen many of the episodes. Joseph Hill comes through in regards to Split Personality. Split Personality, by the way, being the most recent episode to air since recording this episode. He says he gives it 5 black cats out of 5. He goes on to say, Split Personality is a strong contender for the best episode of the entire series. It has a perfect mix of humor and horror. It's not the scariest episode, but it does have the gory ending. So many quotable lines and dialogue along with the singing. It just makes this episode so fun and entertaining. I'm too sexy for my hair, too sexy for my earring, too sexy for this house. Remember all that?
I love that.
Me too. He also says, I want to congratulate Cryptique on the upcoming 1-year anniversary. Look forward to watching and celebrating this milestone. And if Shudder hired Kenny to write the synopsis, would they pay him to write whatever? It's another Joe Pesci quote from that episode. Yes, they would. They'd be paying me to write whatever. Thanks again, Joseph, by the way, for the congratulations. Yeah, it's something that Godden and I are very proud of, having done this for a year. So, and thank you guys for being along the journey. Iron Sabbath comes through. He gives it. By the way, Iron Sabbath. He's already giving this his honorary 6. So he gives Split Personality his honorary 6 out of 5 bingos. He says that I have my own twin scheme that Pesci pulls is so harebrained and stupid, but that's what makes it fun. The twins are so gullible that they are easily fooled into this terrible con. You can't help but laugh at how ridiculous that Jack personality is. California surfer dude Joe Pesci is something we need more of. Two bodacious babes. TheJimiRyan comes through. He gives it 5 chainsaws. This is a model for what a perfect Tales from the Crypt episode should be. Pesci is hilarious and over the top. The mood is jovial with an undertone of darkness that only this kind of show can do. The gore was great, and I loved the foreshadowing. To me, the 2 black cats represented the twins. Their appearance caused his car accident, just as the twins caused his death. Yeah, it was good mirroring, right? I like that too. He goes on to say, as of early last year, I've been reading the comics, Tales from the Crypt comics, and comparing them to the episodes. It's intriguing how far some episodes will stray from the source material, while others are just carbon copies. So far, I've produced 3 video essays on the topic. Yeah, TheJimiRyan, I'm really glad that you came through and you shared this with us. So TheJimiRyan, one of our faithful viewers and commenters, has their own YouTube channel where they review the comics, the books, and compare them to the actual shows. So I'm going to link that down below because we're going to shine some light back out onto TheJimiRyan out there. So check out the link below, look for TheJimiRyan's channel and show him some love. Let him know that you're visiting from the Cryptique, so he knows that you're coming from us, so he can so just know where his fans are coming from. So that's great. Thanks, TheJimiRyan. And speaking of shout outs, let's also shine the light out to Creeps of the Crypt. Last couple of episodes ago, Split Personality, speaking of, we had Alan on. Alan was visiting and he joined us for that episode. We also have plans to get John on, also from Creeps of the Crypt. So a lot of love in this community, a lot of overlap, and a lot of just getting together, which I thoroughly enjoy. So hopefully we can get some more of that going on. Anything else that I think is interesting, I'm going to link down below. So feel free to just peruse through the description and just click on whatever you find interesting. Godden, how about us? Where can we be found?
Well, they can find us at Crypteakers on Twitter or the Cryptique podcast on YouTube. Since we mainly put our videos there, we don't have it on our main channels. Well, for me, they can find me individually streaming at Twitch under UAPPO6. And then, how about you, Ken? I like when you do yours, personally.
I can be found at 2 Bad About Kenny. That's both with the number 2, as well as TOO Bad About Kenny on YouTube and on Twitch. I review movies and books. By the way, one of my reviews just dropped as we're filming this episode for the Evil Dead review. So if you're watching this, that means that the video is probably like 2 weeks old. So go to my other channel, watch my review for the Evil Dead. I'm trying to get through the entire Evil Dead franchise for the upcoming movie, which I'll be late for it, but hopefully, we'll make something happen. I'm a big Evil Dead fan, so. With all of that out of the way, if you want to join in this time next week, Godden and I are going to be discussing Season 4, Episode 14, Curiosity Killed. So, I hope you had a good time, kiddies. And remember, wherever you may go, whatever you may seek, we'll all get together same time next week. Until then, sweet nightmares.
Well, how was that for a scream, boys and ghouls?
I'm Dave Mustaine, and I approve this podcast.